Hello, good morning or evening or afternoon. I hope you are doing well. Today is April 29th. For me, it's Wednesday. All right. So I am making this video as a follow-up of the outliers video that I made on Monday. If you have not seen that, check that out. Make sure you turn those assignments in. I have a key of those notes attached here, so you can check that out. I want to say that I really appreciate you guys adapting to everything that I have been throwing at you during this online portion of our school, and you guys are awesome. All right, so thank you for that. Happy Ramadan again to all of you guys celebrating. On Monday, or maybe earlier today, you just watched this video, I talked about outliers. So in a data set like this, 3, 8, 11, 13, 15, 300, that number 300 would be an outlier, right? Remember, an outlier is just a value that's either way bigger or way less than the other values in a data set, okay? Today, we are going to talk about how an outlier might affect the mean or median, and we're going to talk about how those two values, the mean and median, sometimes one is a better representation of the typical value of a data set than another. All right, so I've posed this question at the top here. What best represents the typical value of a set of data? Usually the mean, because it's called the average, is what most people think, but there are times when an outlier can, we call it skew that data, but it basically just makes that mean less representative as a whole. And we'll talk about that. So the first thing you'll fill in your notes, however you want to fill this in comparing measures of center, the mean and the median are often compared to see which value best represents the data set. All right, so again, the mean is the average, but sometimes the average gets a little messed up. And we'll show that in this example right here. So an amusement park was hiring students for the summer. The 8 students' hourly wages are shown in the table. And we're going to find the mean, median, mode, and range. And then we're going to talk about these best representations. All right, so first things first is we're going to reorder. All right, so I made this line small again so that we don't mess up with this picture. We're going to start with our lowest value. So it looks like 825. 2 students are making 825. Then the next lowest looks like 845. Then 865. Then 875. If you're working ahead of me, that's fine. And we have 910, 925. And then that last student is making tons of money. 1650 an hour. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 students. All right, perfect. So let's find the mean first. Remember, that is adding up your values and then dividing by the total number. So I have 825 plus 825 plus 845 plus 865 plus 875 plus 910 plus 925 plus 1650. This is awesome to watch. I ended up with 77.2. When I divide that by 8, I get the average hourly wage of $9.65. So I'm going to type that in right here. Now we can talk about the median. So we're going to start our greatest and our lowest, and then our next greatest and our next lowest. We're trying to find that middle value. Then our next greatest and our next lowest. And we're stuck in the middle of 865 and 875. Now you can do this in your calculator, but some of you guys may know the value already. I'll do it in here just to show you. But when we add those up and divide by 2, man, should I be even doing this? I'm going to put a question in the Edpuzzle. Should I waste my time putting my phone up to the small little camera? Either way, you end up with a median of 8.7 or $8.70. All right. Then we have the mode. There's one value that happens twice. There's 2 students who are being paid $8.25. And then finally, the range is that greatest value minus that least value. So I'm going to do 1650 minus 825, and that's going to be 825 again. So that's the difference. So here's where we're going to talk about this best representation. So there are 8 students, and most of them are getting paid between $8.25 and $9.25. All right, so most students are around this 8.7 range. But this mean, which is supposed to be the average, I mean, it is the average, is higher than every single student's wage except for one. This student is getting paid a bunch of money for whatever reason. Maybe they're doing more work. Maybe, I don't know, they're just getting more money because they're cool or something. Makes this mean not the best representation, or the typical student is getting something between 825 and 925. So I would say that the median is the best representation of the student's wages. So I'm going to write the median. I'm just going to change this word of the student's wages. Okay? So outliers usually have the greatest effect on the mean. Right? As we saw, the mean, the average, went up a lot. But the median stayed pretty similar. If this value would have been not an outlier, not something that was significantly greater than the rest of the data, the mean would not be so effective. All right, I've been talking about it a bunch. What is the mean, or what is the outlier in the above example? That's that student who's getting paid $16.50. And then if we remove our outlier, how will our data change? So we're going to reorder our data again. 825, 825, 845, 865, 875, 910, and 925. I can get rid of a bunch of that line. And then we're going to find the mean again, in the mode and the median and the range. And we're going to see how these values change if there's a better representation. So do 825 plus 825 plus 845 plus 865 plus 875 plus 910 plus 925. And then divide that by 7. And I get $8.67. So that's a little bit closer to what most of the students make, right? The median, go the lowest and the greatest, lowest and the greatest, lowest and the greatest. So the median is going to be $8.65. So now they're really similar. The mode stays the same. It's still $8.25. And then the range is $9.25. Our highest value now minus our lowest, $8.25. So that's just $1. So the best representation, in this case, it's either the mean or the median. Okay, usually they're pretty close, but sometimes those outliers make the mean not necessarily the typical value. All right, So if you want to see more on outliers and the mean and the median, again, you can watch this video that I found. Hopefully it has a better explanation than what I did if I confused you. I made up an example for you guys to try on your own that I want you to turn in with these notes about inbox or email sizes. And it asks what the outlier is, and then whether the mean or the median is the best representation of the typical email size. All right. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Thank you.